You know that moment when you are listening to a song and an a cappella part catches you by surprise? That is a feeling I love a whole lot, and over the years I've had my fair share of encounters with such performances, be it on record or in live performances. With a cappella music slowly gaining popularity among fans of 2D music and Seiyu, I feel it is the time to share with you some of those moments or performances that made my jaw drop in awe. Let's kick off this episode of Seiyu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyu Lounge, I am your host Vanessa and today's topic is 7 times male Seiyu blew my mind with a cappella performances. After talking about what is a cappella music, the different parts in a group, techniques and even the Seiyu I believe have the potential to join a project such as Aupella, it's time to have a more laid-back episode in which you and I talk about the times we found a cappella parts or performances that blew our minds. In this case, I bring you 7 a cappella parts that impressed me. To avoid making this episode all about Aupella, I decided to pick a cappella performances or parts from Seiyu artists, bands or other 2D groups and will give, by the end of this episode, a shout out to one song in the Aupella franchise that impressed me a whole lot. Do know that since this is a podcast and music rights are always a mess to navigate, I can't show you previews of the parts I am talking about. However, I leave in the description the names of the songs, artists and where to find those songs if they are available on streaming platforms. These are 7 of those moments that made me appreciate male Seiyu even more than I already did. Moments that made me stop and just take in those raw emotions and just enjoy the beautiful soundscapes I was taken into. I welcome you to participate in this episode and share your favorite moments in which an a cappella part, or basically an a cappella performance, coming out of nowhere in a song, surprised you, made you cry, or have a beaming smile plastered on your face. Now, without further ado, let's talk about the 7 times male Seiyu blew my mind with a cappella performances. That intro in Tetsuya Kakihara's Hikari Winter version. That intro is unbelievable. You have a 1-minute intro and first verse fully performed in a cappella in Hikari Winter version, a 2016 rearrangement of the original 2012 song Hikari. This song was the moment my views about Tetsuya Kakihara as a singer completely changed. What was once a pop rock artist with the occasional EDM song performing in an oddly monotonic fashion at times actually was a fantastic singer that was not even tapping into his talents up until then. I still remember having to review this song as part of the 2016 album Circle of Life, and before hitting play I thought that this rearrangement was for sure going to be pop music. Well, I was surprised, pleasantly so. The Christmas bells easing you in to this song was a big change, but as soon as the choir enters, I knew I was not ready for what was going to happen in this song. Tetsuya Kakihara slowly joined in the song with sweet mid-tone vocals, gently taking you to the snow-filled soundscape in front of you. The power and emotional range in Kakihara's vocals was something he had never shown before, not for 2D music projects nor even in his solo career. So he delivered clean, long notes. He played around with his volume and tempo, while adding a bit of an R&B flavor to his performance. The charismatic, emotional way in which Kakihara stood there at center stage, performing that a cappella intro, simply blew me away. And when the strings joined in the song at the 1-minute mark, I was with chills all over my spine. I've said it before, a good arrangement can elevate a song, and an outstanding arrangement will demand the best of the singer. And Tetsuya Kakihara certainly delivered that in his version of Hikari. To this date, this is one of Kakihara's best performances. Takuya Sato's a cappella intro to Triggers Negai wa Shine on the Sea. This is one of those iconic moments that I can't forget. During Idolish 7's second live reunion, everyone was caught by surprise when Takuya Sato hopped on stage by himself to perform the intro to Triggers Negai wa Shine on the Sea. What followed was one of the most beautiful and emotional performances everyone got to see. And it is an understatement when I say that during the live viewing event I attended in Hong Kong, almost half of the people in the room were emotional or downright crying during it. You could tell when Sato appeared on stage that he was gearing up for something that was making him quite emotional. As he breathed in and took the microphone in his left hand to his mouth, right hand on his chest, everyone was in silence. The power, the emotion in his vocals. Those beautiful baritone vocals echoed in the venue, meeting no resistance. Everyone's eyes and ears were on him, alone on stage, pouring his heart out in a song that has a lot of emotional baggage due to the part in which it is featured in the game's story. This is such a small part, but the way Takuya Sato performed it left a big impression on me. Those booming, sweet vocals, overflowing with emotion, still ring in my ears, and I really can't forget the pained expression on his face. Truly one of those moments in which acting and a cappella meet to create something special. Yumo Uchida's intro to Horizon with a 5-tone a cappella performance in Harmony of Waves. There are a cappella performances, and then there is Yumo Uchida's performance in Harmony of Waves, song included in his first full-length album, Horizon, released back in 2019. Harmony of Waves starts off with a 5-tone a cappella performance, fully performed by Yuma Uchida. So how was that achieved? Well, through multiple recordings in different keys. With Yuma Uchida's wide tenor range, that is quite the easy feat to achieve, but when you listen to the final result of each of those tones put together, harmonizing and doing canons with each other, you won't help but to gasp in awe. This is exactly the type of song that instantly makes me say that Yuma Uchida is a top 3 best singer among male seiyuu. Few could pull off such a feat of performing the same song in different voice tones, put those together and have his leading voice not only performing a cappella, but also doing so in R&B style and with the control and charisma that he has. Since this album, Yuma Uchida made it a trademark of his that all his albums start off with an a cappella performance. I can understand why K-Lab casted Yuma Uchida in Aopella. Well, I would have done so even faster than them had I the money and means to create such a 2D music project. Shotaro Morikubo and his heart-breaking performance of Never Ever. This is by far one of the most haunting performances I've ever heard. Part of the 2013 drama CD series by Reject, Seventh Heaven, There Lies This Pearl. Never Ever is a fatalistic song in which a solemn acoustic guitar and dramatic cellos slowly paint the background as Shotaro Morikubo walks around you as he delivers an emotional performance. While this song is mostly not about a cappella, there is a part in it that absolutely sends chills down my spine. And yes, that part is performed in a cappella. At the 6-minute and 18-second mark, the music fades away and Shotaro Morikubo takes the center stage, curtains closing, lights dimming. The solemn tone in his voice, the slight raspy way in which he delivers those bittersweet words are a goodbye. And if you were paying attention to this almost 7-minute long song, those 15 seconds will be more than enough to render you to tears. For me, I had goosebumps all over. This song is a slow, painful goodbye, and you can feel that in the performance, culminating in a beautiful a cappella part. Shoya Chiba's a cappella in Visual Prison. While I am not the biggest fan of the Visual Prison franchise, I do recognize that there is a whole lot of good songs in there and performances that sound really good. However, there is one specific performance that stands out the most for me. It is Shoya Chiba's a cappella cover of Guilty Cross. In the anime series, he starts really clean and steady, slowly adding a little bit of vibrato to the endings of his words, cranking up the drama in the performance. Although this is a brief showcase of his talents, the way he performs the theatrical tune in such a mellowed way, slowly ramping up the drama to later include instruments and having Makoto Furukawa joining in, is quite ingenious. I would have loved to hear a full a cappella version of this song because honestly, I felt it conveyed even better those bittersweet emotions in the lyrics than the full rock version did. Double whammy in here because Makoto Furukawa also joins in, and if you paid close attention to the previous episodes, you will know that he does have the skills to perform a cappella, and he does show that in here as well. Soma Saito's emotional a cappella performance of this one. It goes without saying that Soma Saito has an amazing skill set, especially when it comes to singing. In the Idolish 7 franchise, he has had some opportunities as of late to perform a cappella versions of some of Trigger songs, as well as, in the case of this mention, Rivales, this one. Now, the original version of this one is up-tempo, upbeat, and all about its danceable sound. So how does this song sound like in an a cappella version? Beautiful, delicate, and in a way, rather melancholic, at least it is in this performance. I remember watching the performance in the anime series and gasped at what I was hearing. Saito is known for his clean tenor voice, and that goes into perfect use in the intro, easing you into the song. Gently, he goes through the first verse, adding more and more emotion as he gets closer to the first chorus. But while the original chorus was all about its fun, upbeat tone, what you get with Soma Saito's performance is a melancholic chorus that is oddly reassuring and warm. For sure, this is one of those performances that helps making a strong case for Soma Saito to try and give it a chance to a cappella music, regardless if it is in a 2D music project or in his solo artist work. Fame with voice, heart, body and soul. And to wrap up this episode, I had Fame's Voice, Heart, Body and Soul song that instantly impressed me. While I am aware that a cappella singers can replicate almost every music genre out there, I was not expecting this group, that is big on its R&B performances, to actually go full-on EDM for voice, heart, body and soul. Fame is able to basically transform this song into a lo-fi EDM banger. It is unreal and quite impressive how they managed to create such a tune with voice only. The verses are groovy, riding on top of the washy vocals by Shugo Nakamura and the punchy bassline by Daiki Hamano. I love the contrast between the leads for this song, Takuya Sato and Toshiyuki Toyonaga. Sato does an amazing job as he smoothly performs the addictive chorus with clean low notes and an alluring vibrato. Toyonaga, on the other hand, adds a unique, high-pitched, youthful twist to what is, for the most part, a mature performance. Fame's voice, heart, body and soul arrived as unexpected to me, and I must say that I love Fame's R&B brand of a cappella music, and I was pretty much ready for more of that to enjoy its groovy bass lines and addictive choruses. But what I got was a song that impressed me at that time of reviewing it, and it now refuses to leave my head. Am I complaining about this? Not at all. I'd like to hear more songs like these in the future. Well, these were 7 times Male Seiyuu blew my mind in a cappella performances. From full-on a cappella performances to just small details within a song that deal the final blow to the listener, even down to the rearrangements that made chills run down my spine, there is a little bit of everything in here. I honestly love when, within a busy song, the composers manage to add an a cappella part, be it as a solemn intro to the song, an emotional chorus, a haunting bridge, or the last nail in the coffin, the big goodbye in the outro. There are various innovative ways to add a cappella to a song, and whenever I find those, I can't help but have a big smile on my face. It is a pity though that this is not done frequently, but then again, if it was, would it still be as magical and refreshing to find as it now is? So, with Aupella slowly building up its popularity, having Lil Happy, Fame and Vedlip as basically its amazing representatives, it is safe to say that we all may get more a cappella songs or parts to be featured in songs by our favorite male seiyuu artists or 2D groups. And if that makes more people appreciate the beauty of voice acting and the voices of male seiyuu themselves, I'm all in for it. Now tell me, which a cappella performances by 2D groups or male seiyuu have blown your mind away? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, and remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyuu Lounge. If you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male seiyuu and music related content, hit the subscribe button. Also, if you are listening to this episode on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male seiyuu artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyuu Lounge. Thank you for listening and see you guys around.